Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Another draw preview and prediction video. Not too soon after the US Open, of course. We're talking 2 weeks between the US Open and this event. Well, technically, actually, it'll be 1 week if you played the final, that is. But otherwise, for those who, of course, exited in the first round, it will be 2 weeks for them. So a quick turnaround, a WTA 500 event in Japan as well. Really exciting to see these events in different territories. I mean, for me anyway, I love, of course, the European swings and the North American, and that's fantastic. But it's great to also see events in, for example, South America. You know, we saw Central America in Mexico, where we covered Los Cabos. Here, Tory Pan Pacific Open in Japan, in Tokyo. So we're going to get into it. Before we do, remember to that like button and subscribe if you are new. If you're also listening or watching on a podcast platform, do leave a rating or review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Do leave a rating if you don't mind, or a review even. It really, really does help push us up the charts, so we do appreciate it, of course. Okay, let's get into it. So there is a pretty stacked, I would say anyway, a pretty stacked lineup for this WTA event. And as you can see, Paula Badosa is the number 1 seed, and I don't think many people will be backing her necessarily to win this tournament, but she is the number 1 seed. She's got a bye in the first round, so of course we'll pick her. And I'm going to try and get this name right because Gil Gross corrected me. So I think it's Sheng Jinwen is her name. So you say the second name first, and it's SH rather than a Z. So Sheng Jinwen, I think he said. So I'm going to go with her because I am a massive fan of Zheng or Zheng even. And she's a really exciting young talent, a really exciting young Chinese player. And I can't wait to see her develop because for me, she's arguably one of the top talents in the women's game right now. She lost in the third round of the US Open to Niemia, which is an upset, I have to say. It was an upset because a German unseeded player losing 6-4, 7-6 to a tight match. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's no massive harm in losing to someone like that. She's obviously taken the experience and she'll continue to improve. So I've got her winning. Elise Mertens versus King Wang. I mean, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Elise Mertens mainly because of her consistency and also her experience. Alison Risk against Claire Liu. I'm going to go Risk to win there. And Kudermetova has a bye. Sophia Kenin will play a qualifier now. I have to be honest with you, I'm not particularly happy about having to pick Sophia Kenin without knowing who the qualifier is because she's not been in particularly good form. But for the purpose of this video, we'll go with Sophia Kenin. Naomi Osaka has Daria Seville. Now, Osaka should have too much power for her. She's playing at home as well. It should give her some sort of good feeling. She is a defending champion. She won in 2019. They haven't played for a couple of years now, 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. So Osaka to win that for me. Another Japanese player, Yuki Nato versus Beatrice Haddad Maia. I think Haddad Maia has just been in such good form this year. It's very hard to pick against her, but a home favorite. Do we think the crowd's going to have that much of an effect on the result? In my opinion, probably not. Then this is arguably the best of the bunch in terms of first round matchups. Elena Rybakina, the Wimbledon champion, is seeded number 8. She is playing Samsonova, who's been in fantastic form this year. She really has been. I'm going to go with Samsonova to cause the upset against Rybakina. A pretty bold choice, I know, but I'm going to go with her. And then Xinyu Wang, I'm going to go with her to go through. Muguruza's got a bye. Pliskova will play a qualifier. So I'll go with Pliskova. She had a pretty good, Australian Open in the end. I think she probably went further than I would have expected her to go. And obviously losing to Sabalenka in the quarterfinals in the end in 3 sets. So not a bad tournament for her. And especially given how this year's been pretty underwhelming, she would have been happy with that result. Martic has a qualifier, so we'll go with Martic. And Hontama, who again is a home favorite against Shui Zhang. I'm going to go Shui Zhang to win that. And then Caroline Garcia has a bye. She's been phenomenal this year, of course, in the semifinals of the US Open, won Cincinnati, some fantastic wins as well in other tournaments. this year. So she's looking good in Berlin, I think it was recently. So look, I mean, you have to factor in, I guess, maybe how tired they might feel. But after 2 weeks break, they should be okay, you would hope. But those are Zheng Qinwen or Zheng Xinwen even. I'm going to go with Sheng. I'm not. I think maybe since the start of this year, maybe past February, March time, unfortunately, I just lost all faith in Badosa because the results are just so inconsistent. Part of it is not her own fault as well, because part of it is to do with a lot of injury. She's been injured a lot of times in inconvenient moments, and then it's taken her out, or she's been had a niggle in a match. You can tell it's affected her serving, for example. I'm just hoping she will get back to good form, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon. And I don't see it happening this year. I feel like she's going to have to reset next year. And I would imagine she's going to drop outside the top 10 because she's got a lot of points to defend at the back end of this year. Mertens and Risk. Mertens, you can see, has dropped down the seedings quite substantially because she was seeded top 15, if I'm not mistaken, not too long ago. She lost in the first round to Begu. She was seeded 32 there. So that would have really hurt her ranking. I'm going to go for Mertens to get revenge. Avenge her poor form anyway recently. Kudermetova, Sofia Kenin is a bad matchup for Kenin. Kenin's been, again, very injury prone. She's barely played much tennis. She's coming back. She's nowhere near her form that we saw when she won a Grand Slam not too long ago. So we're going to go Kudermetova to win that. And then this is an incredible second round match. Osaka versus Haddad Maia. I'm going to go Osaka because of the crowd, because of the feeling. If you're going to go consistency in someone who's played the best this year, you go with Haddad Maia. But I just think Osaka will find that extra gear playing at home. Samsonova, I'm going to go Samsonova. Muguruza has no one at the moment. Pliskova to beat Martic and Garcia to beat Zhang. Then I've got Sheng Xinwen against Mertens. Only Sheng. Osaka Kudermetova. I'm going to have to come back to that one. I'm going to have Samsonova to beat Muguruza. I'm going to have Garcia to beat Pliskova. Now, this is the tough one because Osaka, again, she's at home. She's the reigning champion, but she's not been in great form. Kudermetova has been in good form. She's been very, very consistent. It's a tough one, I'm probably putting too much emphasis on the home crowd and the feeling she might be getting, but I'm going to Osaka. Of course, as well, unless they've changed it from last year or from 2019, the courts will be this green hard court, pretty similar to the old Australian Open courts that they used to play on, that green hard court surface. So that'll be interesting to see from a, I guess, visual point of view. And interestingly, I'm not sure why you would make green courts because the balls are green, but it's not that type of green, to be fair. Okay, so I've got Sheng Xinwen versus Osaka. I'm going to go Sheng. You can see I'm very hard now. Samsonova Garcia. I'm going to go... Can Garcia continue great form and pick herself up after the semi-final loss? Will Samsonova continue her great form? It's tough. I want to go random. I want to go Samsonova. And I've got Sheng versus Samsonova. I'm going to go Sheng. That just shows you how high I am on her. But I just think it's just a matter of time until it clicks for her. Once it clicks, it's going to be very, very tough for people to beat, and she will go on a run. I'm picking her to do it at this event, but it may not necessarily happen. She could go out early. I've got her beating some very, very good players. So that's my prediction for it. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, at the moment, at this stage of time, a lot of people are playing to make the WTA finals. So they're looking to push as much as possible for their ranking points and get into that elite kind of top 8 players. And then on top of that, they're also looking to make sure they end the year in the best possible position so that when they come into next year at the Australian Open or other events, they will be seeded. So That's why the back end of this year becomes important and very important where you finish up. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. Also, do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. It helps us out a lot. It really does. Thanks for your support, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care.